Today is Thursday the 19th of October and we're getting ready to leave the marina. We've got a really exciting summer ahead of us. Lots of good plans, exciting plans that we'll share with you along the way. But today was provisioning day. This provision particularly, we're testing ourselves to see how long we can actually stay out on anchor without relying on land. Now of course water and power is going to play a bit of that and dictate that. So we've provisioned for quite a few weeks. I'm not going to say how many weeks at this moment, but we're just going to give it a go and see how we do, and hopefully the new things we've learned will help. So basically it's been a 2 to 3 day exercise of provisioning. We've had to really think about the meals, what ingredients we have, what we need, and trying to do that. So we're just going to go through the process of finding a space for everything, unpacking as many things as we can from the containers. So like for instance things that come in cardboard, we're just going to try and get rid of as much of that packaging as we can for now, so that we don't have to deal with it later down the track. So we're both really tired. It's been a really big 6 months, probably a year for us, but particularly the last 6 months. But we're on the final push now, and yeah.
I wanna be on the water, glide on blue sea. Feel the wind blowing, fly like a bird, be set free. Will you take my hand and protect the land? Surf on the
Hi everyone, we are in Opanga Cove and we left the marina, was it Monday? And today's Saturday, so we've been out on the hook for the week, and we've just been a bit busy because there's a big blow coming. So there was Cyclone Lola, which did a lot of damage in Vanuatu, and it's just headed south. It's broken up, but it's integrated with another low pressure system, and so we're expecting a bit of a blow, and we've been busy preparing for that. So still very calm here right now in the anchorage. It's a bit eerie, but yeah, there's quite strong winds forecast, so just thought we'd show you what we've been doing to prepare ourselves and prepare the boat for this bit of a storm that's coming.
Right now the wind is, it's glary, but right now the wind is very light. So like Adam says, it's quite eerie, isn't it?
Yeah, there's two other boats here with us. One came in last night and the other one's just coming in now. It's quite nice to have a bit of company, eh? Rather than being lone rangers. So should we go up to the bow and work our way through the boat?
Sure.
Show those things?
Okay.
There's one thing I'd say, a very important part of preparing for a storm is to have appropriate footwear. You don't want to get cold feet.
Adam loves these things. He would drive, go to the supermarket in them if he could.
They need a bit of a wash. They've had a workout. They're not appropriate for the foredeck. A couple of comrades who are getting harassed by fish. A whole lot of wrasse underneath them.
Banded wrasse. Wherever they go, wrasse go.
It's like the cleanup crew. So they're very. That's what's happening. Just did a poo, and look at that feeding frenzy. Here's an ecosystem.
Unbelievable, eh? What's been happening with these two? Because you're quite fond of them.
I feel a bit damaged having seen that. Look at these guys cruising in. Yeah, they're always there, eh? And then you look and they're swimming really fast over to that boat, and you're like, oh, they've gone, and then you turn around and they're back again. So they're obviously in tune with who's got what on offer.
Yeah. They haven't learned we're not offering anything, because Birds of Auckland was one of the things I follow. Are very clear about not giving any birds bread and stuff, even though I'm tempted. We're sticking to the rules.
Okay.
So, just so you know, Adam and I have done a lot of waxing, so this is now ready for us to slip right down.
It's like a slide.
Yeah, slide right down to the furler.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful.
Hit your tailbone on the way down.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're trying out, because we've just bought a new Rocna and a little very expensive anchor chain. So we're trying all that out, which is nice. So we've got just on 50 meters of anchor chain out, and quite a long storm snubber, and a bit of hosing for chafe protection on the roller, and we've got a separate roller for the anchor chain and for the snubber, so in theory they don't chafe and interfere with each other. So yeah, and then we've just like candy caned the genoa and just tied it off, so it's a bit over the top, but everything's locked up and locked down for that. And if you just look at the hill, so at the moment it's a light sort of southerly, but it's going to swing around, sort of a southeasterly coming straight in this way, but the stronger wind will be an easterly, which will be coming straight over here. The other boat's just anchoring way over there, and the ducks are showing an interest. One of them's off. Look, that one's off. The other one's staying. There seems to be a disagreement. That one's going. Look at it. Come on, go with the other one.
You're worried.
I'm managing them.
Yeah.
It's gonna. Surely they can't separate like that. Okay. So anyway, we have tucked in under the hill. Is my point. Look how calm it is. So nice, eh? A bit more sunshine wouldn't hurt. It's freezing.
It is very cold.
The southerly front came through yesterday, and the temperature dropped. So that's the front end of things. Also here, this is our new forestay, which I won't tell you too much about right now, but just like lash things down so that they're not going to rattle, because there's nothing more annoying. And we should go this way. That's about it for up here, eh? Yeah, so we wrote a checklist this morning, and we've completed everything on the checklist. So we're just going to have perhaps a bit more coffee and some breakfast, and maybe just settle down and watch some YouTube, and just it's a bit cold, so we'll go down below probably and warm up and just chill out a bit. Might be a bit of a tiring kind of a period over the next 48 hours, so we'll just rest up while we can.
So yesterday it was quite calm. It was actually quite a beautiful day, even though they were predicting gusts in 30 knots. We actually had a really nice day, but then as soon as night fell, the storm arrived. What are your thoughts, Skip?
It was like that, wasn't it? Excuse me. It was yeah, quite a long night. A pretty boisterous night, but everything stood up well, and I slipped out of the cockpit. We were both keeping an eye on things. Yeah, so pretty boisterous night. Pretty boisterous night and morning. But the sun's up now, which is nice. It's always nice to see the sun. Well, not the sun, but the daylight. And yeah, so it was a windy night, and I think we saw about 50 knots at one point, and the wind indicator was really useful just to make sure our position relative to the wind, and we weren't dragging, but you know, everything's held up so well. It's good because everything's new up there, the anchor and the rode and even the cleats I put in, so it's certainly a good test. And so another windy day today and into the night as well, so we just had a bit of breakfast and we'll pace ourselves today. So this is our chart plotter. It shows our position, and this dark sort of curve here is where we've been swinging back and forwards during the night. If I zoom out a bit, it shows the bay we're in, so the yellow is the land. I think we've had a very sheltered site here because it's been gusty with lots of lulls, well, less wind and lulls, so I think it's not really a lot of the prevailing wind we're seeing, it's a lot of sheltered. So yeah, there's signs that out at sea it's not good right now, so yeah, we're fortunate to be here.
Okay, we'll see you later. There's still a few gusts coming through. It's Monday morning, and it's the morning after the complex low combined with the remnants of Cyclone Lola have blown through. And yeah, it started on Saturday, probably between 7 and 8 p.m. for us, and it's been persistent since. It's calmed a lot now. It's really calm. So we've been going through it for about 36 hours. But there's just a few gusts now coming through, but otherwise it's actually quite pleasant. Yesterday was probably the worst day wind wise, but we'll go through all of that in a moment. And yeah, so we're both a little bit tired because, as you can imagine, we've not had much sleep, only because you know what the motion of the boat is like in strong wind, and you're constantly listening out for sounds and all that kind of thing. So yeah, tonight we're both looking forward to a really good sleep. So we got our rain catcher out and our water system set up because it's time to catch some water because it's raining, it's overcast. But yeah, the only casualty was poor Titi. So Titi's the tender, and I'll just show you. She's all good now, sitting calmly there. But what happens is that we only have two places we can leave the tender, and that's on the stern, tied up to the stern. We don't have dinghy davits, or on the foredeck, and we weren't going to put the tender on the foredeck because obviously we want it clear to keep an eye on the anchor and all of those sorts of things. So poor TT had to be tied to the stern, and we thought we had cleared her out. We made sure the outboard was off for obvious reasons, and but during the blow yesterday the wind was so strong and persistent, and I was sitting here in the cockpit and just watching the boat go back and forth on the anchor, and poor TT was going like this back and forth, you know, so I'd get a glance of her every time she came past, and then the next minute she came past and she was upside down. So we looked at her and we realised that we had left our lock. We had a stainless, what do you call it, Adam? Cable, stainless cable made up with a loop in it that we are going to secure to her, so when we're onshore in busy places we can lock her and hopefully no one will take her. So we hadn't actually put it on, but we had put it in her and realised after she flipped that that cable was in there, and which was unfortunate because obviously we don't want to leave that kind of stuff in an anchorage, but also we don't, it was a lot of money. So we waited for the gusts to settle, and in between gusts we righted her again, and fortunately the cable had managed to get stuck on a little bit of velcro and was still there, lock and all, so we got it out, so that was very fortunate. So it's just sitting, we've freshwater rinsed it, and we brought her in closer to the boat, and then she flipped again because the wind was so strong. She flipped again, so we decided to leave her upside down because actually with her hard hull she was probably more aerodynamic than the way she was sitting upright, so we left her so that the wind could just go over her. And then this morning we wake up and she's righted herself, so the wind's righted her, so there we go. Goes to show that it was all okay, all happened on its own. And yeah, so we just like I say, set up the water. There's still quite a few gusts coming through, strong gusts, but otherwise it's relatively settled. We're just having some breakfast and some coffee, and we'll come back to you. Okay, so it's the Monday morning after the complex low and remnants of Cyclone Lola came through. I'm not sure if you can hear, we're inside Tāiko at the moment in the cabin, but it's still got quite strong gusts coming through, but otherwise it's pretty settled.
It's pretty settled. There's a bit of sunshine coming in now, which is really nice.
Yes, sailor's life, either sun or water.
Yeah.
Have to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts about the weekend?
It was a pretty big storm that we went through, and it was in the forecast for a good week, so there's no issue with it not being forecast. There's a ex-tropical cyclone Lola, which was up at unfortunately doing damage in Vanuatu, and then that merged into this low pressure system which came in from across the Tasman, but there was a high pressure system over the South Island, so there was a squash zone between this low pressure coming in and the high pressure, which is what we sat through. So we had winds in the 50 to 60 knot range at gusting, and quite violent gusts.
And sustained winds, like even though we were in quite a sheltered anchorage and there wasn't enough fetch for any swell or anything to really build up, so we were lucky in that sense that it was only really the wind that we had to deal with. I mean, there was a bit of slapping of water, but nothing. There were like sustained for some periods of time 40-45 knots, and then the gusts would come through.
Yeah.
And so as I mentioned before, it started at about 7 to 8 p.m. on Saturday night.
Yeah, just as it was getting dark, the wind picked up.
Yeah, just as it's getting dark, because that's sailing, isn't it? Things like to happen in the dark when you can't see. And went through for probably about 36 hours.
Yeah, I'd have to count it up, but 24, 30. Yeah, backed off sort of during the mid hours of this morning, about 3 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because it started on the Saturday night, and all the way through the night it had these violent gusts coming through, but then there'd be these periods of lull, and it was okay. But it was gusty and then quiet, gusty, quiet. So probably quite good because it meant the anchor could get embedded really well.
Yeah, I think we were in a sheltered spot, so a lot of the prevailing wind we weren't seeing, but there were these big gusts powering through.
Yeah.
And did you notice that towards the end, when it was starting to back off, the gusts got they were less strong in terms of wind strength, but they were violent. They were like, must have been turbulence or something. They were really noisy and a lot of movement on the boat, even though it was only 30 to 40 knots. So it was interesting.
Yeah, that was because yesterday, Sunday, was probably the worst day of the storm in terms of, like I said, on Saturday night it was really gusty and then quiet, gusty, quiet, whereas from about 9 a.m. on Sunday it was just this prevailing wind and these gusts with very few lulls. Like it was just persistent, and then this prevailing wind would come and then a gust and then another gust and another gust.
Yeah.
And it was like that probably until 8 p.m. last night.
Yeah.
And then, as Adam said, like what was 40 knots in a gust originally felt, 40 knots. But then it suddenly became 40 knots was actually quite violent. Yeah.
Another thing I'd say is you sort of get used to the sound and the movement, and you sort of know when actually there's a bit of a risky moment in terms of dragging with the way the boat lurches and stuff. So you do become a bit in tune with everything that's happening, and after a while it becomes a bit normalised, I think.
Yeah. Last 2 summers since we've lived aboard, they have not been good summers for sailing.
Yeah, they've been the La Nina, lots of tropical influence and strong northeasterlies.
Yeah, but this summer we're going to be positive and we're hoping for a good summer.
So we've been out for a week. We've been nailed. So let's carry on. The weather looks pretty settled for the rest of the 10-day forecast. So that's good.
Provisioned for 7 weeks. Now I said I wasn't going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. 7 weeks. And we're 2.5 weeks into that provisioning. And how do you think it's going?
I think food-wise we're doing very well. To start with, the fridge and the freezer were a bit overfull, so it's nice to get that down to sort of more manageable levels. But I think, we're on track and we've been possibly more efficient than what we've planned.
Yeah, we haven't lost any food.
Yeah.
Which is good, because when we first started this journey we lost so much fresh food. We were trying to live like we lived at home, and all our fresh food was just going off, and to be fair we didn't have a 12-volt system, but even last year we lost food and we hadn't even provisioned that long.
Yeah.
So we've become a bit more streetwise or boatwise.
Yeah.
And we've pickled and we've done all those sorts of things, so we're eating well.
Yeah, and we've still got all that ahead of us. So that's been good. Yeah. There's 2 things I'd like to say. One is because with the anchor, obviously anchor's pretty important during storm anchoring, and so before leaving we'd upgraded our anchor to Rocna 25.
It was a Rocna 20. Yeah,
we put the Rocna 20 as our spare anchor in the forepeak. We put on 100 metres of the Italian 8 metre short link anchor chain.
8mm.
8mm, sorry. And so 100 metres of 8mm chain, and because we've just fitted a forestay, I had to mount 2 new docking cleats on the bow. So there was a lot of new stuff. Everything was new really up there for going into this. So we could go on, I guess, but you're probably sick of us rambling. So thanks for watching, and please do. We put out a video when we can. Yeah. We don't have any set time frames. We try and be as regular as we can, but it's not always possible because we do work and do other cool stuff. Yeah. So we try and put one out when we can, so be patient, and some exciting stuff coming up. Yeah. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for following.
And remember to like and subscribe.
Cool.
Yeah. Alright, see you next time.
Okay,
Bye.
See you.